Everybody, and welcome back to our segment called BME Stories. Before we begin, this show is brought to you by Business Marketing Engine. If you want to know more about us and make that big step to grow and scale your business, check out businessmarketingengine.com. Today on our show, Gabe Arnold is going to talk to our team members, and they're just going to be talking about their experiences here at BME and what they've learned and how they've grown as a person as well. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Gabe to introduce our guest today. Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Jethro, thank you. Welcome to the show, everyone, and thank you for coming on, Becca. I'm glad to have you here. Thank you for being my second victim on the show.
Happy to be here.
No, I'm great. I'm grateful to have you here, and yeah, I know you joined our team in May or June this year. Which was it?
Early May.
Okay, that's right. It was a whirlwind of a second quarter, so I
Yes.
couldn't remember what time was it exactly. But yeah, I'm really grateful that you're jumping on. I love sharing with everyone kind of some more behind the scenes stuff of what we do here on the team, and also just I'm grateful that we have this show and the opportunity to just showcase who BME really is. It's not just me. I get to just be the face of it and act like I know what's going on some of the time. But really, what happens is we have amazing team members that deliver excellent work and just take great care of our clients. So I appreciate you being on the show today. And so I wanted to start out and ask you, when did you first get into copywriting?
Ooh, good question. I actually first started getting into it in high school, but I didn't really recognize it as copywriting at the time because I was very cool. So I was a Girl Scout all throughout my childhood. And for my Gold Award project in high school, I wrote the copy for a healthy eating pamphlet for kids. So that was my first actual experience, like talking to printers and designing a page and writing copy. So, and then I got more into it in college and ended up majoring in journalism. And so that's where it all kind of began.
That's pretty cool. It's interesting that you started in print because there's less print these days, really, and that's definitely like real copywriting experience, which is cool. I remember when I was, I was like 15 and 16 years old, and I found out the other day we were both homeschooled, and so I was at this homeschool group, and I created this like underground magazine is what we'll call it. So I would like write everything out like by hand, put pictures in and like paste it all together. And then I would go copy it off on like colored paper. And I would hand out my magazine to all my friends at my homeschool group.
The coolest thing to do.
It is the coolest. I think I still have one somewhere. So if I do, I'll have to find it and show it to you. But that was probably my first like foray into journalism, if you could call it that. But yeah, that's awesome. I know as a young age, I started writing poorly, but wrote a lot when I was younger, and I still have a passion for it today. And I'm curious too, on the journalism front, what kind of things did you do there? Because that's been one of the huge kind of things, strengths that you brought to the team is from a journalistic perspective, it feels like you know how to hit deadlines, you know how to manage a lot of content in our copy board. You're quick in getting things done. Like you have a real eye for like what feels like to me like the chaos of journalism. But tell me a little bit more about what you did on the journalism front.
Yeah. So after I graduated from college, I decided to try to freelance for a long time. So I got really good at organizing my time and structuring my time like that. And the thing about freelancing is it is all chaos all the time. You go through spells where there's just like all the deadlines are like 20 minutes ago. So it really helped me improve my like ability to hit those deadlines, is just managing myself and all of the projects that I was taking on individually. And then I worked for a while doing some sports reporting. And the fun thing about sports reporting is the articles are due at the end of the game. So, and while the game is happening, you're taking notes, writing stuff down, kind of structuring like what story you're trying to tell about that game or whatever event is happening. And then at the end, like the story is going to be published pretty much immediately. So that gave me a lot of practice with writing quickly and editing as I write, and just staying fast as you're going, and fast and clean.
Yeah, man, that'd be crazy. I've never written about any sports games. I did have in another business years ago. We did cover some sporting events, but I had somebody else go write it, and I never even thought about that part. So that's talk about a real time deadline.
Yeah. It can get intense, but mostly it's the fun kind of intense where you're excited the whole time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. Yeah, so you joined in May. You joined our team in May, and I'm wondering, why did you initially decide to work here?
Initially, I had actually been unemployed for about 6 months, since about the start of the pandemic until a little while after I got back into freelancing. And I was looking for any and all like stable jobs on Indeed. And then when I came across this one, I was like, oh, this looks perfect. It's working from home. It's the structure of the company looked really interesting to me, and I really wanted to get in somewhere that felt like a small business that was doing big things. So when I got the initial interview, I was very, very excited, and that's what drew me initially. Is it felt like a small company vibe, but who was doing bigger things.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a good description. We are doing big things. And I know one of the things that early on I noticed about you, and just one of the things I really appreciate you as a leader, Becca, is you have no, I mean, maybe you do have concerns, but you have no fear or concern of just bringing up what you see as wrong or could be improved or fixed. And like, you inherently live out our guiding principle of positive confrontation, and you did that from day one. Is that something that you've always had, or what is it like to go to your boss a few weeks into your new job and say, hey, I think this is broken, we should do this a different way? Because that's what you did, and I absolutely love that. But I don't know if that's like, and I've done that before too, so I know what that feels like. But is that something you've always had, or what was it like when you came? I think it was in June we met, and you're like, these things aren't working, and we need to make some changes here.
Yeah. I don't know actually if that's something that I've always done or not, because I didn't start thinking about it as an asset until we had that conversation. But it just felt like the kindest thing to do, because it seemed like there was a problem, and it just felt silly to me not to bring it up, because it's like, well, if in the interest of not wasting time, let's just talk about the problem now, and then if we can solve that, great. And then if I didn't say the right things and I get fired, I'm only 2 weeks in. I didn't have a lot to lose.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wonder if it's because you're homeschooled. And the reason I say that is because being homeschooled and like living a very non-traditional life myself, like I'll bring things up, confront things, and like bring up things that most people either know better not to say or are maybe afraid to say. But yeah, that was the moment for me where I was like, man, I know that Becca can really truly live out being a servant leader here. And my trust and respect for you went from, I really liked what I saw in the first few weeks, but my trust and respect for you just went through the roof at that point, because I've been in business a long time, and there's just not a lot of people that are willing to give feedback and be honest about what's going on. And that's the number one thing we need in business and need as entrepreneurs and leaders, is other people to give us feedback. And so that's something I super appreciate about you. And you came to the conversation with like, these things aren't working and I think they should be improved, and here's the challenges. But it wasn't like you came and threatened, like, you either fix these things or I'm leaving. Like, you really did it from a place of service, and that's something I really appreciate about you.
Thanks. I was very nervous. I was incredibly sweaty the entire time. And I just I tried to approach it from a place of, I don't know a lot, but if I'm right about these things, then it's going to benefit you to also know. So I I'm glad that I was right and that it could be helpful, because it worked out.
Yeah. And what you just said, I could totally sense that in your tone and how you approached it. And I'm sure you even said it in that meeting of like, hey, I'm just trying to help you. And like, you really came at it from that perspective. And that's noteworthy. And I love that. And honestly, you setting that tone has opened that culture up, that part of our culture up even more for our team, where new team members, old, established team members that have been here a long time, are able just to reach out and say like, hey, I don't think this is working. Can we change or improve it? Or I don't understand this. And so that's something that I would say to everybody listening to. I would encourage you as the entrepreneur, as the manager, as the leader, in whatever role you are, keep asking for that feedback, ask for that honesty. And we have a tool that I've talked about on other shows called Spark that kind of encapsulates what Becca does all the time for us, which I love. And it's giving specific praise and really specific candor on what's going on. And that's truly serving the team. And so that's something I really wanted to just highlight, because I value and appreciate that quality in you.
Thank you.
And so that was like the first few weeks, and we were in the middle of like lots of things going on, a couple of people going out with COVID, a bunch of changes. The middle of the second quarter was pretty wacky this year, but it all landed eventually. But from that point forward, like, and up till now, what's your experience been like here working at BME?
Just a lot of learning and growing. Like every day, I'm really thankful that I get to like learn something new. It's not always about copywriting or marketing, but it is exciting that no matter what I'm learning, like I do get to learn something new every single day here. And part of the reason why I was able to come to you the first couple weeks and have that conversation is because one of the projects I was working on was Annabelle Beckwith's Leaders Edge Alliance and her value videos. I was writing the copy for those, and I learned so much about business and revenue leaks and that kind of thing that I was able to actually like give you some information that you didn't have before. So just learning is my experience here, has been just learning and growing every single day, which feels pretty great.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's always our goal. I love learning. And so if I can help team members do that, and we do have just a culture of learning, which I'm grateful for, and the whole team supports that. Then maybe my last question is, what is your favorite kind of copy to write? And I know you get to write a bunch of different things, and you do an excellent job on all of it. But what if you could just pick one thing that you'd like to write all the time? I'm curious. I've never asked you that, so I want to know. So
That's a good question. Well, part of the fun is that it's a variety, and we don't have to write the same thing every day. But I think probably my favorite thing to write is nurture emails, because I get to kind of combine a lot of my favorite aspects about writing, which is storytelling and like reaching out to people. So with nurture emails, you kind of get to weave a narrative throughout the whole series of emails. So I always really enjoy doing those.
Those are awesome. Yeah, you've done an excellent job on those, and I know even from when you started to where we are now, we put some new pieces in place, and like the way that our nurture email series go, the performance on them has been awesome. The open rates, the engagement, and yeah, I love writing those too. I still write email. I don't write a lot of other copy, but I love writing email and follow up stuff like that. So I can definitely understand how fun that is. So anything else you want to share with everybody before we wrap up here?
No, I think that's all for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Becca. Jethro?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Gabe. And thank you, Becca, for joining us today. I hope everyone who tuned in today was, somehow inspired and somehow got a feel of how we are here at BME. We're so grateful you took the time out of your day to listen to us and Becca share her experiences. If this interested you or has piqued an interest in you, you can definitely visit us at businessmarketingengine.com, and we will be there ready to answer your queries or if you have any questions for us. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.